The rise and fall of Mark Bell. In today's video, guys, we are going to get into something a little bit different. If you don't know who I am, I make a lot of home gym type content. If that's stuff that you enjoy, make sure you go ahead and subscribe to the channel. So today, what I wanted to talk about, and I was searching through YouTube and I couldn't find anyone that's actually spoken about this, is basically the rise and the fall of Mark Bell, one of the most, prolific, is that a word? I don't think so. One of the most well-known names in powerlifting today. So I want to preface this by saying I have spoken to Silent Mike and Jim McD a little bit on some of this stuff. I'm obviously not going to share anything that they wouldn't want shared, but I'm going to be pulling a lot of stuff that they've kind of said in their podcast, which has been, obviously open to the public. So, now I used to watch all the Powercast. That used to be my favorite channel on YouTube, was the Super Training one. And you know that he had a really good... he had the best videos in terms of lifting content. It was basically, you'd have a guest on, you'd live with them, and it was awesome. We got to see some of these lesser known guys that were really legends in the industry that nobody had heard about because they hadn't had the platform to speak on until Mark gave them that. So that was a really cool formula, and I really enjoyed that. But, as you guys who are watching this video have seen, the past few years, things have been weird, and a lot of stuff has happened. So let's back it up a little bit, and first we'll talk about the ending of Powercast and how Silent Mike and Jim McD left, because there was not really, there was no real open discourse other than, Silent Mike basically said that he left, and we got like a 10-second clip from Mark talking about it on one of his new Powercast things that nobody watches anymore. So basically, from what I've gathered, from what everything, everyone has said, there was obviously some sort of disagreement between Mark and Jim and Mike, where they couldn't agree on something, and then they ended up splitting ways. So in my opinion, I don't know this for a fact, it probably came down to money. I mean, that's how these things normally work. Someone probably thought they weren't getting equal pay. Someone else didn't want to pay them that. Typically, that's how these things start, right? So that's what my guess would be on why they actually split up and went separate ways. We've never actually heard anyone openly say why the issue was, but the more that I listen to Silent Mike's and Jim's new podcast, is called 50% Facts. They don't talk about Mark a lot, but there's been a few times where they really harp on how it was not like a good workspace. They I don't want to say it, I don't want to take this out of context, but I'm paraphrasing a little bit. So basically, it wasn't a good workspace, wasn't a good guy, and I guess he really screwed them over in some way, whether that was as they were leaving or just kind of throughout the whole process of them working together. Because they've said many times where, they can't believe they didn't see it all along, or different kind of things like that. In the podcast last week, Jim went on a little bit of a rant about it, but so so they split up, and this was when Mark was really at his peak. This is when everyone was watching his channel. I don't know, sales numbers might be the same for him, but in terms of just his channel on YouTube and just like his public kind of opinion, that was the peak. That was the peak. The Powercast was killing it. But then as soon as everybody left, that's when things kind of got weird. And we saw this total persona change with Mark Bell, which was really interesting. And he just went in a totally different direction, because he basically went from the people's coach, is what they used to call him, right? So just, cared about lifting, cared about putting powerlifting first. Total persona changed as soon as everybody left. Probably a big reason for it. His ego just went, it seemed to go out of control. So basically what happened, if we watch any of his stuff now, he's bragging about his millions. It talks about all his money, talks about living a fancy lifestyle. And, more power to you if that's what you want to do, but you just come off as an asshole. So, I don't personally care. Do whatever you want. I'm just kind of, giving you guys my side of it and trying to give you the whole story here. So, so we saw Mark make that shift from, the people's coach kind of guy and a huge proponent and, lifting first, everything's powerlifting. And then to go from that into, who he started to become, just like a general fitness, trying to appeal to the mass audience. Love to show off, fancy lifestyle, money, different things like that, and everything just became Mark Bell. There was no more Powercast. It was Mark Bell's Powercast, which I know was technically always the name, but it just, everything just revolved around him, it seemed like, and it just seemed like his ego just kind of exploded. And I know on Instagram he stopped doing this, but around a year ago, he was doing this thing called like the race to 0 followers or something like that. Basically, he was just posting like stuff like braggadocious things, like he purposely did this. Maybe he doesn't care. Maybe I don't know, but it was a very weird shift. And yeah, so he was posting on Instagram about the race to 0 followers, trying to get people to unfollow him. The comments were flooded just with like, "What are you doing? Like, why did you, like, nobody cares about your money, or nobody cares about, you trying to show off or anything like that." And that's kind of, he's gotten better with it now, and it's a little bit more neutral, but I think people still feel the same way about him, where a lot of the stuff that we see now, it's either like just general type of clickbait stuff that he puts out, again, trying to appeal to the masses, versus the way he used to be. But yeah, so very strange turn. And I don't know what we're gonna see from him next. It feels like to me that he's just got someone doing all the social media stuff for him, and he's just focusing on, I don't know how he makes his money, but like sales of equipment and like powerlifting gear and that kind of thing. I think that's where the focus went, and then YouTube is just kind of like, just pump it out, whatever it is, who cares? That's the vibe I get from it anyways. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? What's your take on the change of super training, and then Mike and Jim going off and doing their own thing? It's definitely been interesting to watch, and it's been kind of strange because nobody's really talked about it. So hope that clears some stuff up, but let me know what you think of the whole situation down below in the comment section. As always, guys, thank you for watching. Catch you next one. Chicken out. Bear.